Hi, everyone. This is Jordan Pedraza from the Remind community team. And today we're going to have a Hangout on Air with Brett Kopf.
Hi there.
And members of the Remind community team. And we want to just take this opportunity to welcome you back to the new school year, talk about some recent product updates, and then open up the floor for a Q&A with everyone. So first, let's introduce you to the broader Remind community team. So obviously you should know Brett by now.
Hey everyone, how are you? Good to see you.
And then we have a few other team members joining us here. If you guys want to quickly say hello.
Sure. Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm the New York community manager. I was in the classroom for 4 years, now work at Remind.
Hi, I'm Jen. I am the content manager at Remind, and I work closely with the community team.
Hey, Lisa Debs here. I'm the California community manager, and it's great to be here with all of you.
All right, thanks everyone.
And who are you?
And then I'm Jordan Pedraza, also on the community team. So we're all here in our San Francisco headquarters office. We're in the scissor room right now. And we're just gonna walk through some updates for you guys, and then we'll open up the floor for Q&A. One thing I wanted to note is that this entire Hangout will be recorded. And we also have a tag board that's going to archive all RCE chat posts. And we'll be using the RCE chat hashtag throughout this Hangout for any questions you guys have. So let me switch over to our slides real quickly, and we can talk about some updates we have in store for back to school this year. All right, so just a reminder that we're going to use RCE chat for any questions or comments that you have throughout the Hangout. Okay, so back to school highlights. So the first thing we wanted to announce is that we are rolling out a new look and feel for our web dashboard on Remind. So if you log on to remind.com, you'll see a nice, clean, more colorful and beautiful interface for managing your classes, sending out messages, using chats, or managing any of your settings. So everyone should have access to this now. We started rolling it out about a week or so ago. So definitely check it out. Some other updates we've been rolling out. So chats we introduced earlier this year. Basically, it allows your subscribers to reply to you instantly after you send out a message. So we've rolled out some new improvements to chat. First is teacher-to-teacher chat. So we know for a lot of you, you're working closely with each other at school, and you want to be able to quickly share information or tips or resources with each other. So now we have teacher-to-teacher chat, where as long as you're both registered under the same school and Remind on the mobile app, you'll be able to chat with each other instantly. And you don't have to worry about sharing each other's numbers or anything like that. It's all in the Remind mobile app. We are also rolling out a feature that will make it easier for your subscribers to organize your classes and messages in their phones, where we'll basically have regular 10-digit phone numbers for each teacher when you're sending out messages. And then that way your subscribers can save you as separate contacts, and then also can reply back to your messages via text more easily. And then the last thing we also wanted to announce was group chat. So basically be able to chat with up to 10 other people at once, all on the Remind app or on the web dashboard. So definitely feel free to check those out, either on the web dashboard or on your mobile apps. And then the other thing we wanted to talk about briefly was our kind of back to school message for teachers this year. So we know when back to school happens, there's a lot of craziness that happens. There's a lot of inspiration and ideas and big ideas. But we also wanted to celebrate all the small things that teachers do. Things like high fives and hugs and smiles, words of encouragement. So we wanted to rally all of this behind a message: teach small. And if you haven't checked out Teach Small yet, visit remind.com/teachsmall. And we basically have a video kind of celebrating the small moments that make a big impact for everyone. And then you'll see plenty of posts of stories and examples of what Teach Small means to our community throughout Twitter and Facebook. And then many community members are also writing blog posts on their Teach Small stories. And then also we're inviting community members to host Coffee EDUs. And Coffee EDU was founded by Alice Keeler, and basically it's a 1-hour coffee meetup where teachers can talk about whatever they want. And so we thought it would be a nice idea for back to school year, but basically you can talk about how you want to teach small this school year, some examples of what's worked well for you in the past, and how teachers can teach small with each other. And if you want to help get involved with this message and kind of spread the word, there's a few ways you can do that. So like I said, the hashtag Teach Small is all over social media, so feel free to reshare and share your own stories. We'd love to hear what it means to you. We've also sent out an email to tons of teachers on our video and asking them to share their stories. So if you see that, feel free to forward to anyone else you think would be interested. And then feel free to write about it and share your posts. Feel free to tag us on Twitter or contact our support team. We'd love to feature your story and hear what you think about this message. And then, as I said before, we have coffee EDUs. We will sponsor your coffee meetup for up to $25 if you can get some teachers together and talk about whatever you like. You can talk about Teach Small or any tips or resources or new tools you want to try out for the new year. And then obviously we have to plug Remind here, but we know many of you are either owners of Remind classes or members of them. So feel free to share this message on your Remind classes too. All right, so now we're going to open up the floor for Q&A. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna flip the camera on Periscope. All right. So now we're going to be looking to the RCE chat hashtag on Twitter. So please shoot any questions you'd like to ask Brett or the team, and we'll open up the floor for the next 20 minutes here. So do we have any, or I guess Brett, why don't you say a few words too?
So I know online you guys can't see this, but Jordan has been managing Google Hangout while holding a phone with Periscope, while talking to you, while making sure that she goes through the right agenda, all at the same time. It's extremely impressive, so nice job.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, so I'm super excited to be here. There may be some of you that I haven't met before. I think I'm glaring, I'm gonna take this off. There may be some people that I haven't met before, and if I have not, I would love to meet you. You can email me at brett@remind.com anytime, or just shoot me a tweet. Brett Kopf is my handle. I thought I could explain the why behind why I started Remind, which actually started over 7 years ago. And I like to tell people that it started when I was in 5th grade, which technically isn't true, but that is where the why started. And then I can explain some of the things that I'm super excited about and hopefully give everyone a chance to ask me any questions that you want. So to the beginning, the whole reason we started this is because in 5th grade, I was diagnosed with a bunch of learning disabilities, and school was incredibly hard for me. I basically spent 15 years really struggling with my education. And the whole reason that changed is because I had this teacher named Miss Whitefield. I don't know if she's on here. I don't know if she's actually one of our CEs. She should be.
She should be.
She's the whole reason this company exists. She teaches at Niles West High School for 19 years. She's a veteran in Skokie, Illinois. And she really changed my life. And it's not so much that she taught me how to read or be the best science student or how to solve Pythagorean theorem, but she taught me how to be a good person, and she instilled really great values in me. And she was also super patient. On top of that, my parents were very involved in my education. And so when we started the company and we were reflecting on what we wanted to do and why we wanted to do it, the whole company's foundation was built on those two things. The belief that if we can help teachers become better teachers by first making them more efficient, so we literally want to just save them time in the day. And the second is if we can figure out a way to keep parents engaged in the kids' education and have it make the teachers' lives easier. Everyone knows like helicopter parents exist. And then there's the opposite side of that, when parents are so busy, they want to be involved, but they just don't have a way to do it. So that's the problem that we're trying to solve at really massive scale. And I so appreciate all the work that you guys have been doing to help us achieve this wild vision to connect every teacher, student, and parent in the world to improve education. So I'm super excited for this back to school. I hope you really like the campaign that we launched, which the team did, I think, an awesome job on, Teach Small. And the main point of that was to show that all the small things that teachers do matter. And oftentimes those are often overlooked and people don't see those because you can't you can't measure a hug, or you can't measure a message that says, great job last week, and the feeling that the student gets. And that is the message that we were trying to convey. So thank you for being teachers. And I would love to open up to the floor. If you have any questions for me, I want to give you an opportunity to ask.
So the first one that came through was, is there a way to chat with an entire class without choosing each student individually?
Good question. Who wants to take it? I guess I can take it. So no, there's not a way to chat with the entire class yet. One of the things that we just launched literally like less than a month ago was group chat, which was one of our most requested features, which allows a teacher to have a conversation with a group of students or a group of parents or a group of students or parents. I believe the limit, the max for that is 10.
10. Yep.
Yeah, I believe the maximum for that is 10. And we give the teacher a bunch of safety controls like office hours as an example. So they can say, I only want to have these conversations between this time and this time.
Yeah. I would say though that you can start a chat with an entire class by sending an announcement, inviting them to chat you back and turning on chat. So they can then reply to you and start an individual chat with them.
Yeah, and I don't know who asked that question.
It was Sam Carney, at Sam Carney.
Hey, Sam Carney, thanks for asking. I would love to hear either on Twitter or you could follow up with us on if there's a question behind the question. Like if you want to be able to chat with your entire class and to be able to have one, like I guess, massive conversation, we want to know those things. So like the way that we build products is based on the feedback that you give us. All of the teachers that are listening now, it is critically important. And we really listen, like we really, really try very hard to listen. So I would love to hear what you wanted to use that for, if we can wave a wand, because we might be able to make the dream come true, as cliche as that sounds. Good question.
All right, for our second question, we have Troy Rivera, who asks, who do you contact for writing on the blog? Conveniently, that's me. Email me anytime at jennifer@remindconnected.com and I'll get back to you.
Just in case you guys didn't hear that, you can contact jennifer@remind.com or tweet us, and we'll be in touch. But we love to have the community write their stories and share their experience with us.
Can I say a statement? It just popped into my head.
Yeah.
This isn't a question that someone asked. When we started the company, it was very important to my brother David and I, that's who I started the company with, that teachers felt like they were building this company with us. And I really mean that. That's why our number one value that we have, we only have 4 values. The number one value is teacher obsession, and that's based on the belief that teachers provide the best leverage to help change the education system. Our job is to simply help leverage you guys and make your lives better and easier. And so when we ask for feedback like this, and when you write messages to us saying, can we help write on your blog? We love it, and we think it's really, really important. And so the feedback that you guys are giving us, whether you do or don't like the product, whether you do or don't like the way the messaging is happening inside the company and the way that we message our product, that's very important, and it will drive a lot on how we build our company. So please keep the feedback and ideas coming.
Cool. Lisa, have a question?
I love this. I was going to ask this question if it didn't come up, but it came up, so I'm super excited. So Dennis Ball at Better D Ball, and Dennis, I think I've met you at NAESP or at ChemLA, so great to have you here with us tonight, is asking, how close are we to in-app translations to other languages, but primarily Spanish?
That's a good question. I don't actually know the answer to that. We definitely started building it, but it got put on hold because we had some, I would say, larger requests for other features. I don't know the exact date that it will come out. I can check with our product and engineering team to see, unless any of you guys know the answer to that.
No, I would say though that, you know, the app is available in 6 languages. So if the parents have their smartphone already set in Spanish, Chinese, French, etc., the whole interface of the app will be in Remind. You can also download letters to parents in those other languages, Spanish, French. In-app translation isn't here yet, but it is coming.
Great question.
I guess back to you, Taylor. Any other questions?
Let's see.
Yeah, I see one.
Or
Taylor from Margie Gray. You want to take it?
Sure.
Yeah.
So from Natasha, no, I haven't seen another one come up.
Margie? Margie's asking, she's really cute, she's at ML grade 1313, and she says, I'm a new tweeter, so much introduced. I'm working with all the options. What do I do first? So I would take from that she's wondering what she might try first when she's going to start to use Remind. So good question.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the question was, if she's just starting to use Remind as a first-time user, how does she actually get started? And I think that there's 2 or 3 things that are very important. The first one is gathering subscribers. So Remind isn't that helpful unless you have another teacher or teachers to communicate with in your school, or student or students to communicate with, or parents to communicate with. And so we give a lot of different ways to invite them. You can invite them via email, you can send them a link, you can hold up a code and they can text the code to a number, they can download the app and search for your class code. So I would say the first step is to invite your subscribers. The second step is to start messaging them. And there's a bunch of different things that Remind is used for, and this is something that I think as a company we need to get better at, is telling and talking to our teachers and reiterating the feedback on all the different ways that Remind is used, because the company is called Remind for a reason, and so everyone thinks, well, what do you use it for? You send reminders, but there's way more than that. There's a ton of motivational messages that are sent through the system. Hey students, I'm so proud of you. You did a wonderful job in your presentation last week. A lot of coaches use it. If there's a weather outing or a field trip change, they send a message to a parent, and instantly all the parents actually know that they're not supposed to pick their kids up at 6, they're supposed to pick them up at 5. Things like that. If anyone has anything else to jump in on, Taylor?
I heard the best one recently. It was a teacher who's using it to extend learning into the home. So for example, we've all seen the problem where a kid gets home, parent asks, what did you learn in school today? Kid says nothing, conversation dies. This teacher now sends home, okay, we learned about volcanoes in class today. Ask your student about the difference between magma and lava. And so suddenly there's a 20-minute discussion at the dinner table. And so not only are the student and parent getting to bond over what they learned in school today, but by reteaching the material to his parent, that child is now going to retain that information better. So it has nothing to do with reminders, and it's just a better way to facilitate learning and student-parent communication.
Yeah, and just to add another story to that. So for me personally, I've been the most excited about how parental involvement just really sparks with Remind. One story I just heard from Colin Rourke, I think is his name. He has his students share messages while they're in the classroom with parents at home. So with Remind, you can record sound too. So the students will record with their voices, and they don't need to write anything out, and they just take the phone and say a few words like, hey, this is what we're doing today in class, and we love it. So it's another opportunity for students to also share what they're doing too.
And then, sorry, Jennifer, you have something?
Oh, I was going to point out that our website and our blog have tons of amazing resources for teachers. So in our resources section, for instance, one of our favorite PDFs is one that has 10 top ways to use Remind. So, even if you have a couple of ideas in mind, there are always ways to expand the way you communicate with parents and teachers.
So just to recap that, the initial question was, how do I start? First one is get students and parents using the product. And the second one is start sending them messages, and you could find a bunch of different ideas on our website or our FAQ section about how to do that. The third, very last thing that I'll tell you, one of the most popular features on our product, which surprised me when we first launched it, was schedule for later. So tons of teachers use that. It's like, do you guys remember the rotisserie chicken commercial where it's like, you set it and forget it? It's very similar with like schedule for later, where teachers literally go into the beginning of the school year and they'll preset 50 messages every few days, every few weeks, and they'll set it and literally forget it. It's like they have the syllabus and it just goes out and reminds us to work and sends the message. So definitely check that out. It's right under the message bar.
We got a great question from Elizabeth Johnston, and she says, what do you think is the best feature to help non-technical teachers use Remind?
It is a
really good question.
I've never been asked that question. Do you guys have any ideas? The voice clip?
I was gonna, go first.
I would just say the voice clip, because it's so easy to just speak into the phone and you have 30 seconds to leave a message, and it might be something that people are very used to using if you're using just your messaging app on your phone, iOS or Android. So just sending a voice clip really quickly. And the beauty of that is people love hearing your voice. And I've had people say, oh, Lisa, we've never heard your voice. We've seen you on Twitter, and now we know what you sound like. So that would be one thing I would say. It's quick, it's easy, and it's It's not too tough.
One other thing that makes it really, really easy, and I've worked with a ton of teachers who are just haven't used a lot of tech products, but you can create your Remind account or sign into your Remind account via Google authentication. So you actually don't have to create a new account, a new password. I know one thing a lot of teachers struggle with is like, oh my God, how do I even manage all my passwords? This one, you don't even have to create a new one. All you have to do is click sign in through Google. It saves you a lot of time. Yeah.
And that was Elizabeth, right, who asked that question?
Yes.
Hey, Elizabeth, nice to meet you. I think at a higher level point, for decades, like for a really long time, I believe that teachers have not had access to very simple technology. Like I've talked to teachers who've shown me, and I'm not going to name names of companies, but the teachers will come to me and then they give this stack of paper and they drop it down and says, this is my manual for how I'm supposed to use technology in the classroom. And teachers are like, oh my God, well, I have like hundreds of things to do. I don't have time in the day to read that. Where we, on the other hand, want to be totally opposite of that, where it should be so simple that you can sign up in like 60 seconds. And if for some reason it's confusing, and sometimes it is, and we definitely need to improve there and get better, you should be able to reach out to us, and within 24 hours or less, you should get a response from an individual human being. And so there's not much, like, we often get asked the question of where is all the PD for Remind? Where's all the professional development? And we don't have that much. Like there's remind.com/teachers, and there's a lot of stuff in our FAQ, and we have videos on how to use it. We're here to help if you need us. But the product should be so simple, like I'm hoping it just works. And if it's not, you need to tell us, please, so that we can make it more simple.
The next question here is from Troy Rivera again at Mentor Troy. How do you go about scheduling a coffee EDU?
Oh, I could take that one. So we have published a blog post on hosting a coffee EDU, so we'll tweet that out after this chat. But essentially, all you need to do is pick a day and time, any location. It could be your nearest coffee shop, Starbucks, any location you like, and then promote it. Invite others to come along, and it can be however big or small you like. We've seen coffee EDUs that are just 3 or 5 teachers, and others that are 30. So it's really up to you. And then there's no agenda. You just get together and talk about whatever you like. And then we'll host it for you. We'll sponsor up to $30 for your coffee EDU. And on our blog post, we'll have instructions on how to get reimbursed. But we have an email address where you can send your receipt and what you talked about. So if you have any other questions about coffee EDU, definitely tweet us. And then also the founder is Alice Keeler. So if you have questions for her too, on other examples of coffee EDUs that she thinks were really powerful or special, definitely feel free to ask her.
And I'd like to say you're welcome to Nicole and Kirk. You're welcome for us doing this, and thank you for being teachers and using the product. I should be thanking you guys. These are great questions. Any other questions?
Yeah, so one question, this is a pretty easy, we did that one on the blog. No, we had a really good question about denoting the difference between, from Kevin Pluchar, a way to denote the difference between a mass message and a chat on the receiving side. Some students are thinking that a mass message is directed just at them.
Huh, interesting. So this is why feedback is so important, because I'm not a student and I don't use our product as a student. I've actually never thought about that. So to be fully honest, I don't know how to answer the question. We will get back to you though, unless someone else has a good response. I think I understand the question, I just don't know the answer, but we will respond to you soon.
Yeah, an easy stopgap in the meantime is just saying class, comma, at the beginning of the message.
Yeah, but I think your feedback's really important, because the students shouldn't have to think, is this an announcement or is this a chat? Remind, I think that's actually my answer. Remind it should be our job to communicate to the student that they should somehow know that this is a chat or this is an announcement. So we'll definitely communicate that back to our product and engineering team to work on that.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Yep, we've got one from Ben Spieldenner. Do you have any suggestions on how to use Remind for an ed camp?
I think I can take that one. Oops, sorry, all these windows are popping up. Yeah, so I think Remind is really great as both a conference or an event organizer, or also as a presenter or just an attendee. So let's say you're organizing an ed camp or an event. I think creating a Remind class in advance for the events and then inviting all attendees and presenters and organizers to join for any general announcements or updates. And the nice thing about Remind is you can create multiple classes. So maybe you just want one just for the ed camp organizers. So you can quickly on the spot coordinate updates and communications there. And then as far as a bigger audience, then you might want to communicate, locations, schedules, and you can include links and pictures or video clips on your messages. So that could be a nice way to just get a lot of information out to a big group of people. And then the other exciting thing I've seen at events is using it to coordinate kind of real-time connections and sharing. So organizing certain breakouts or kind of meetups that happen. Or while you're presenting, if you're a presenter, creating a Remind class just for you, and then having people join your class while you're actually presenting, and kind of using the stamps feature, for example, to get feedback on a question. How many of you allow phones in your classroom? Check or say a star. And then you can use chat to also take kind of real-time questions or follow up after you've all left the conference. And then also for the Remind class, even after you're presenting or meeting in person, you can still all stay connected. And everyone can choose to receive their updates through text or email or the app, however they choose.
And can I have a quick history lesson? For those of you who don't know, I know Ben very well. I think he's from Dublin, Ohio. I know he's from Ohio. I don't know if it's in Dublin, but Ben was, I think, one of the first 25 users ever on Remind. We have 25 million users now. So, hi, Ben. Nice to see you. I've Skyped with his class and students many times. He has literally been really important in guiding the future of the product. So it's nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in.
There's one question that I want to put forefront because I want to make sure there's never a misconception. Elizabeth Johnston, who asked such a good question before, said, my parents and students are worried that their information might be sold to someone else. Mm-hmm. Is their information confidential?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the information is definitely confidential. The entire company is built really around two concepts. First being that there's a lot of liability issues that exist with called a 35-year-old teacher sending a message to a 10-year-old. And that's one of the reasons that Remind was built, to make sure that the teacher can safely communicate to the students and the parents. And the second reason was efficiency, in that every teacher had 20 students and each student would have on average 1.8 parents. And there was all these people that they had to reach and no really good way to do it. And that's why we have all these features in the product, like tracking a messaging history and making it impossible to delete. And if a teacher tries to send a message before 7 a.m. and after 9 p.m., we send a little notification that says, hey, are you sure you want to send that message? The third point, we are COPA compliant, which stands, it's a mouthful, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. And we really care about the safety and security of our users because it's really at the core of everything we're building with our teachers, students, and parents.
So we never sell our data.
We don't sell our data.
We do not sell our data.
Yep.
Okay, I think we have time for one or two more questions.
Danielle Palazzo is asking, she's at EdTech 13. And I think I understand her question, but are there plans to expand the number of characters for all? One of my accounts says 300 because the number of users with the app is so helpful. So I think she's asking if we can put messages out that have more than 300 characters.
It's a good question. I think this is actually a feature we're testing. It's a pretty highly requested feature where right now on Remind, you get an average of 140 characters. And there's been limitations on that for a long time because the carriers, think AT&T and Verizon, won't literally let us send anymore. But it was such a highly requested feature that we decided to roll out a way where we can break the messages up into two separate messages. So some users can actually test the ability to have 300 characters. I don't believe we've rolled that out full scale. I think we're still testing it. If it's something that you want, you could just shoot us an email and ask for it, and we can give it to you.
All right, there's another
one more question.
Question from Kirk Humphreys. Would Remind be able to develop or distribute a Remind poster to give to teachers to hang in halls so that teachers could put codes to join?
Oh.
I don't know the answer. You gotta ask these guys.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We do have some pre-printed ones already here. If you become a Remind Connected Educator, you get a swag bag when you join, and we'll include some posters for you. But I've also seen some work done on creating QR codes for your classes automatically. I love the idea of making it into a poster. We see a lot of great examples in the community of posters teachers create. So that is a great idea, and we'll definitely add that to the list of things we can do.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, I think we're at time. So thank you to Brett for taking some time to speak with the group. Thank you to my team members for helping to moderate the questions and answer them. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. And like I said, we'll keep RCE chats going the first and third Thursdays of every month. And occasionally we might have special guest stars like Brett.
I'm no star, but email me anytime, everyone. It's really important. If you ever want to talk to me directly, you have full access to me. It's just brett@remind.com or @BrettKopf on Twitter. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Thanks. Good night.